Religion is usually approached in one of two ways. Either it is treated as theology claims about God, the soul, ultimate reality, or it is treated as something to be explained away by psychology. William James offers a third path that is still intellectually useful, a functionalist stance. Instead of starting with the metaphysical question, is the belief true? Or the reductionist question, what caused it? James asks a different kind of question. What does this belief and practice do in a human life? What are its consequences for attention, emotion, character, and conduct? In the Varieties of Religious Experience, James famously argues that the significance of religious states should be assessed by their fruits, not merely by their roots. That Jamesian move becomes especially interesting when we connect it to modern scientific debates about religion's origins and functions. Contemporary research in evolutionary and cognitive science of religion does not speak with one voice. There are at least three broad hypotheses. One is that religion is an adaptation. It was directly selected because it increased survival or reproduction through social cooperation, cohesion, or moral enforcement. Another is that religion is a byproduct. It emerges incidentally from cognitive adaptations that evolved for other purposes, like agency detection or social reasoning. A third is a hybrid. Religion may begin as a byproduct, but later gets co-opted, stabilized, and amplified because it becomes socially useful. A functionalist video does not need to pick a single winner among these hypotheses. Instead, it can organize them around what they predict religion does well. Start with the adaptation line. Religious practices often bind groups. They create shared identity, shared rituals, shared costs, and shared standards. One influential model here is costly signaling theory. When people engage in demanding rituals, those costs function as credible signals of commitment to the group. If the signal is hard to fake, it helps solve a cooperation problem. Group members can trust that others are serious participants rather than free riders. Notice how naturally this fits James's fruits perspective. Even if two people disagree about theology, they can still observe functional consequences. Increased trust, stronger group identity, shared moral expectations, and coordinated action. Now consider the byproduct line. Many argue that religion is not a trait selected for religion, but a cultural complex built from ordinary cognitive machinery. Humans are excellent at detecting agents and attributing intentions. In environments of uncertainty, minds can overdetect agency because the cost of missing a threat is high. From this perspective, gods and spirits are cultural constructions that ride on top of cognitive systems built for social life. The hybrid model then becomes a bridge. Even if religion begins as a byproduct, it can still become functional at the group level. Where does William James add unique value here? James gives you a disciplined way to talk about utility without collapsing utility into truth. In pragmatism, James ties truth claims to consequences in experience. What beliefs lead us to expect, to test, and to live by. Applied to religion, this creates a clean structure. First, separate two questions, the metaphysical question and the functional question. James's point is that you can study the functional question seriously without pretending it answers whether a specific theological claim is correct. Second, use James's functionalism to interpret religion as a cognitive pre-expute, as a cognitive pattern that can organize attention and meaning. Religious systems often provide interpretive frames for suffering, rituals that stabilize emotion, and narratives that bind identity. A Jamesian framing would say, these are not accidental decorations. They are functions that can reshape the stream of consciousness and the habits of a life. Third, add the empirical caution. Not all religion increases cohesion or resilience. Effects depend on context and individual temperament. A functionalist approach is not a celebration. It is an analysis of functions and trade-offs. Finally, if you want to understand why religion persists, ask what it does, what fruits it bears in conduct, character, and communal life. That separation is exactly what makes the discussion serious. It lets you speak to psychology and evolution without turning the video into preaching or debunking.